Victor Wembanyama has picked up his game the last few weeks. He's been surging. I've seen some stats in which he has been statistically the best NBA player. Well, top three best NBA player the last few weeks or so. When you look at the stats, some people have crunched up numbers. Just stat geeks have ranked him top five the last few weeks. That's how great he's been playing. He looks very dominant on both ends of the court. I saw some highlights of him the other night against the Pacers in which he had some post-up moves. He also had some J's he hit. He mixed it up all around the offensive end. He's been a dominant defensive force. He's leading the league in blocks. I've heard now some people are considering him to win Defensive Player of the Year. He's in a running for that. Obviously, it's not guaranteed he'll get it this year, but he's one of the names that are being thrown out for that award. It's obvious to everybody who's now seen Victor these last few weeks that the sky's for real, and the sky is really the limit for him. Just he has no ceiling. This guy is gonna dominate the league for years to come. With that being said, the media has now zoomed back in on Victor. You see all these rants now by people like Ramona Shelburn saying the other day the Spurs screwed up by not trading for Damian Lillard and that they're on the clock and they must win now. One thing I want to talk about Ramona Shelburn is that Ramona is a good friend of Jeannie Buss, and I've always viewed her as a crooked journalist ever since the Kawhi Leonard situation with the Spurs. I felt she was not honest about that situation, and she was trying to push Kawhi to get traded to the Lakers with all the stuff she was spitting during that scenario. I'm not going to go into that right now, but maybe I'll go into it in one of my other clips about what she did back then. But she's truly not a trustworthy person. She's going to push and plant the seeds for Victor to leave or force his way out because she's also cool with the Lakers. She's cool with Jeannie Buss. So, of course, she's going to plant the seeds right now. So in the future, the Lakers could possibly steal Victor through a trade, which I don't see the Spurs ever doing, but at best, free agency, I would say they would have a chance. I have to say that they would, unfortunately, but that's years down the line. Obviously, she wants to plant the seeds now, but you have other people who are now saying the Spurs are under pressure. They need to win now, or otherwise Victor's going to leave. He's not going to tolerate losing in his second year. I want to say to those people, like, what is Victor going to do? Is he going to try to force his way out of San Antonio in year 2 or 3 through a trade? Is that the way he's going to get out of there? And I'm just saying that if you put yourself in the Spurs situation, do you think they're going to trade Victor even if he wants to get traded? No, absolutely not. They're not going to trade a generational talent. They'd rather risk Victor walking out on free agency than trading him. That would just be stupid. You will never get close to equal value, and you're just going to get ripped off. You might as well just see as far as you can go with him, even if he pouts. I don't think he will, but you never know. But the media is planting the seeds right now because they don't want Victor in San Antonio. It's very obvious. They want him in a big market, either New York or LA. Those are two top places they would love for him to be in. So they'll try to push him in one of those two places. Spurs will never trade him to either one. They have bad blood with both organizations. With the Lakers, there's history between them. They will never do business with them. That's like the equivalent of U.S. doing business with like North Korea. It's just never going to happen. So I think that's never going to happen at trade with the Lakers. Spurs will never do it, just like they did trade Kawhi to the Lakers when he wanted to go there, so they can just cross that off. And obviously they'll try to push for him to go to New York, specifically Knicks or Nets who just want him in a big market. But they're going to push really, really hard for this now, starting now, just right from the beginning. To me, it just shows excuse me, I just nearly coughed. It just shows how pathetic the media is. They can't even wait for Victor to play out his contract with the Spurs. They don't even want to wait like they did with LeBron or Shaq to leave like the small markets like they did back in the day. They want him out after year one. That's how desperate they are to push him out of San Antonio. To me, it's appalling, but I'm not surprised. I've always looked at the media as trash when it comes to these types of things, but it's amazing now how there's little tolerance to wait. at least back in the day, there was some respect that you would launch the countdown, but you would at least wait for the player to become a free agent before you started pushing him to these big markets. Like you've seen over the years, these other guys, they began the countdown with Giannis when they first thought he was going to leave Milwaukee. They kept on saying every year, the Bucks have to do this, or Giannis is going to walk, but they never tried to plant the seeds for him to force a trade. Or just these other guys. To me, this is ridiculous. They just can't wait. They want him out of San Antonio. I also think they're in fear that what if he does succeed with the Spurs? Then they have to deal with seeing him win titles in San Antonio. They've already experienced that before with Tim Duncan, and they weren't thrilled about that. They hated that experience. It was very traumatizing for them. They always moaned, bitched, and complained about whenever the Spurs won. They weren't thrilled. They hated the ratings. Just everything about it has given them PTSD, I believe, and they don't want to experience that again with Victor leading the Spurs to possibly future titles for years to come. So they want him out as soon as he can. They don't even want it to hit free agency. And if you look at the way the contract CBA is structured, Victor will be a restricted free agency after 4 years. Spurs can match. So basically, he's here for 7 years, 7 to 8 years. And they don't want to wait that long. They just can't wait that long. So expect to hear more ridiculous stuff from ESPN and other media outlets. The more Victor starts to dominate, you're gonna hear the frustration because they really want him out. They don't want to wait. They're desperate for the Lakers to get another star or the Knicks to be relevant. Just they want him in a big market. Those are the two markets I feel they'll be pushing for the next several years for Victor to end up in, because he's now a generational prospect. He will be the best player in the league eventually. Just I don't know the timeline, but it's kind of like it's inevitable. Unless he gets hurt, he will be the best player. So they want the best player in the biggest market so they can promote their product. It's just business sense. So yeah, expect more ridiculous pushes, more rumors of him being unhappy. Even if it's not true, they're definitely going to push it to the hill. So that's pretty much what I had to say about it. And obviously, I hope Victor stays in San Antonio, but more so, I just want to see the media fall flat on their faces and have to eat it, have to deal with Victor not being in a big market. But we'll see. Can I guarantee he'll be a Spur for life? No, I cannot guarantee that. But what I do believe is the Spurs will never trade him. They will force him to play out his whole entire contract and just wait it out until he becomes a free agent in 7 or 8 years. That's the way I look at it. So that's all I had to say about this.